Welcome, Triple F Nation, to episode 9 of Two Fools in Fantasy Football. We have a solid gold show for you tonight. We will take a look at the waiver wire pickups for the upcoming week in week 9. Then we will also look at the heroes and zeros from Sunday. Then we will take a good delve into who you should look at trading away from your roster and who you should look at trading for the upcoming weeks, and the latest injury news we've gotten today. I'm Marty McFly. With me, as always, is Tyler, the uncool fool Greer.
That's right, Fantasy Fool Nation. I am Tyler, the uncool fool Greer. Please make sure you take the time out to like, subscribe, add, check us out. We are on Facebook now too as well under Tyler Marty. We also have a YouTube channel too, which we're showing you right now live, or we're showing you right now. Just come and check us out. Share us, please. Tell us about all your friends. We're going to give you all the latest fantasy football news. So this is your #1 source for all the fantasy football information that you need. Thank you very much. We are going to roll right into the waiver wire here. So some guys you want to pick up on the waiver wire. Some great pickups this week. Most of these guys had some really good games this week. They're going to be they're featured backs or wide receivers from here on out on their team. So if you have a chance, pick them up, grab them. They're going to do great things from you. They're going to do great things for you from here on out. The first one we're going to talk about comes from Baltimore. Gus Edwards. He's a great find pickup. If you got him, grab him. Go ahead and put him in your lineup. Start with confidence, of course. Right now, as we know in Baltimore, Mark Ingram is a little hurt, so he's not too sure when he's going to come back. And on top of that, Ingram hasn't been playing that great anyways this year. So if he does come back, his role is going to be very limited in the Ravens offense. And the Ravens offense, too, is leading the league with 178 yards rushing on the ground per game. And Gus Edwards is a big chunk of that. He's a big reason why. So go ahead and grab him, play him with confidence, get him in your team. You're going to enjoy all of his points, all the rewards you're going to get for that one. Another guy who this week just absolutely tore it up, he's back on the trail, came back from the injury list a couple of weeks ago, is Zach Moss, running back Buffalo Bills. He came in this week. He had a great week against the New England Patriots defense. He had 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a monster on the ground for you. He's going to be their goal line back from here on out. So if you have Zach Moss, expect those touchdown points, and those add up very, very quickly, especially with Buffalo. They're looking for a running back to tote the rock in on the end zone there for you. Another guy we have this week is Anthony Miller. Wide receiver, Chicago Bears. Right now, Chicago is starting to find their footing a little bit more with their offense. They're starting to figure out that they are more of a pass-heavy team than a run-heavy team. Right now, Chicago averages the least amount of yards on the ground for their offense. So what does that mean? That means more yards for Nick Foles. Who's that going to go out to? Obviously, Allen Robinson, and also their #2, which is Anthony Miller. And they're going to sprinkle in Jimmy Graham there too as well. So Anthony Miller, if he's on your waiver wire this week, go ahead and grab him. Put him on the bench, kind of see how he does if you're not too sure about it. But if you're in a desperate need for a wide receiver this week, he would be a very nice start to have. The next guy we want you to pick up is Denzel Sims for the New York Jets, wide receiver. As you know, me and Marty hate Adam Gase. We do not like him whatsoever. We do not hold any love for him whatsoever in our hearts. He needs to be fired, sincerely, the entire fantasy football nation. We would really appreciate that. So, Jets, if you get on that, we'd appreciate that. But the Jets have a really nice schedule from here on out, and he's looking like he's going to be possibly Sam Darnold's #1 receiver from this moment forward. So if you get him, he's rostered in less than 5% of leagues. Go grab him. Put him on your bench just to see how he does, kind of get comfortable with him. But if you want to put him in this week, have confidence with it, and he'll do just fine too as well. The next guy we have on the list is somebody who had a really nice game in Seattle, Brandon Ayuk, San Francisco 49ers receiver. As we're going to get to a little bit later in our news and notes, unfortunately, some really bad news for San Francisco with their star tight end and also their quarterback too as well. What that's going to do is it's going to elevate Ayuk to the #1 receiver because Deebo Samuel's already out too as well. So he's going to get many more looks the rest of the year. So Brandon Ayuk, great guy to have. If he's on your waiver wire, pick him up. Next two guys we're going to talk about are two #2 receivers. The first one is Mike Williams for the LA Chargers. They have Keenan Allen. They got Hunter Henry. They have a decent running game. It's going to get better when Austin Eckler gets back. But if you got Mike Williams on your waiver wire, go ahead and grab him. He's the #2. He's going to see #2 cornerbacks the rest of the year. He's going to eat. He's a great receiver to have as a number 2. Another guy who we're going to pick from the Tennessee Titans, Corey Davis, number 2 receiver. If you got him, same thing, same situation as Mike Williams. He's their number 2. Tennessee's got the new beast mode. They got A.J. Brown. They have Johnny Smith. They have a number 1 wide receiver, a number 1 tight end, and a number 1 running back. Having Corey Davis is not the worst thing in the world to do. He's going to face the number 2s all day. So with that being said, if Corey Davis is on your waiver wire, go ahead and grab him. You go ahead and play him too. I see him as a flex play wide receiver 3 from here on out the rest of the year. Grab him. You're going to enjoy the points. He's a great receiver. And a lot of people forget he was a 5th pick overall 4 years ago. So go ahead and grab him. Enjoy it. And he's going to do some great things for the Titans the rest of the year.
Okay, everybody. Talked about heroes and zeros for Sunday. So, quarterback's going to start off with Patty Mahomes from KC. Threw up a 40-burger this week. 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. What? Yeah, Texas Tech, wreck 'em. That's what I'm talking about. Next on the list, Russell Wilson. Can't say enough about what Russ Wilson's doing this year. Dude's putting up, I mean, I'm going to say it, check it, mark it, write it down. MVP, Russell Wilson, right now. Mark it down. Place your bets. He's going to get it. 28 points. Him and Metcalf, if you've got them, start both of them for the rest of the year. They're going to be money all year long. And what surprised both of us was Phillip Rivers was another hero this week with 24 points. Depending on what league you're in and what the scoring factors, but some leagues he got 24 points, some leagues he got 22 points. But he was a very surprising that they put up 41 points this week. Didn't see that coming. But yeah, Phillip Rivers, 24 points for a hero this week. And now the zeros. I believe if you go back and watch our last video, we predicted this zero, I think. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, only 14 points, or 14.8 points this week. We said he wasn't going to do well against the Pittsburgh defense, and we were right, surprisingly. Also, for the Buffalo Bills, quarterback Josh Allen didn't do that well against the Pats defense this weekend. 12.4 points for old Josh Allen. Didn't get the run game going like he used to, like he's been doing this year. And the surprise zero for us this week was Jared Goff for the Rams. Just got lit up by the old Dolphins, the old Fins down there in Miami. Only 10 points this weekend for old Jared Goff. So not that great this weekend for old Jared Goff and their old Rams. And we got Tyler's going to give you the running backs and wide receivers, heroes and zeros. So take it away, Tyler.
Thank you, Marty. For the running backs this week, we had some great games. Obviously, the number 1 running back we got to talk about is the man, number 3, Dalvin Cook, who torched the Packers this week for 4 touchdowns. Unbelievable, coming back from a growing. We had him as a top 5 running back this week. We had him as our number 5 running back. He would have been higher on our list if it hadn't been for him coming back from the growing. We knew that he has all the talent in the world, and he showed it. His explosiveness, it was unreal this Sunday. So if you had him, you probably won your week, or if you played against him, you probably lost your week. So depending on what side of the coin you're on, it's just the way it is. Another hero this week is the entire Indianapolis backfield minus Jonathan Taylor. We had Jonathan Taylor as a boom this week, which we were completely wrong about. What we should have said is we should have boomed the entire Indianapolis backfield, and we would have been right on. We had the right uniform. We had the right position, just the wrong names. It's okay. It happened.
Right.
So
It's all right. It happens.
It happens. It's all good. So, and the last guy who boomed this week really well is the guy we told you to pick up on the waiver wires, Zach Moss. He had 2 touchdowns this week for Buffalo. He had 80 yards rushing against the Patriots this week. So as you can see from this week forward, Zach Moss is going to be the man in Buffalo. Grab him, play him, enjoy all the points he's going to get you. So with the booms, now comes the bust. So the running backs this week that busted out, that dropped the ball, that probably made you pull out your hair, probably made you have more gray hair. First one we're going to start out with is the running back in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes was a boom. Unfortunately, somebody had to be the bust. This week it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. A lot of people in the chat rooms are talking about what to do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Hold on to him, keep him, don't do anything, don't trade him. A lot of people were like, oh, they played the Jets, they only got 6 points. The game script, Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 41 times. They ran the ball for 18 times. Just relax. That was the game script. It happens. It's fantasy football. Remember, it's a week-to-week thing. It's not a big deal. Just it's going to come, it's going to go. So he's got any double-digit points the rest of the time. So just relax. Le'Veon Bell's not going to take his carries away, so stop stressing out about that. Yes. What was that? Woosah. Yeah, woosah that, guys. Relax. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be back. Just play him with confidence. You put a first or second round pick on him, use it. Don't worry about it. The next guy who was a major bust this week, who we had as a boom for the running backs, was Jonathan Taylor. As we talked about earlier, all the rest of his backfield teammates did great. Jonathan Taylor, unfortunately, was not in that conversation. So, but again, if you got Jonathan Taylor, he's going to be fine. Just, don't worry about it. It's just 1 week. So he will get back on track, just not this week against the Ravens, but after that, he should be doing fine with the rest of the way. The next guy we're going to talk about is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt played the Las Vegas Raiders. Everybody had him projected for about 20 points. He got less than half of that. That was a little bit of a major disappointment. It also didn't help that the winds in Cleveland were about 128,000 miles per hour. So that didn't really help anybody. It was actually 35. So as you can tell, that whole game was a complete bust if you had anybody in that game. And the last guy we're going to talk about is Run CMC's now official backup again. So Mike Davis, he didn't have the best game. He was disappointed. Mike Davis started out great, but as his starts kept going on, his point total started getting down. So obviously now you're going to get the future back of Christian McCaffrey back. So if you got him, Mike Davis is going to go on the bench or maybe possibly the waiver wires too as well. All right, now the booms this week for the wide receivers. We had a lot of booms. We had a lot of great wide receiver games this week. We got to start off with number 17, who I believe we said was going to be a top 5 wide receiver this week, if I remember correctly. Number 17, Devontae Adams. Do you remember that, Marty? I think we put that in our last video.
It is in our last video, if I remember correctly.
I think we had him as number 1, right? I think it was number 1. I mean, I think we were off a little bit, but he did have not 1.
I've got my notes over.
Not
yes,
2.
Number 1, yes.
But 3 touchdowns this week. Huh. That's weird. I mean, who else predicted that? I don't know. I think we did. I don't think anybody else did. So that's weird.
I think we said.
We said 2. He got 3, so we were off by 1. But we got the number 1 right, so it's okay. So, but if you had him, you played him, you had a good week to say the least. So if you had Dalvin Cook and Devontae Adams, basically nobody's touching you this week. So another guy who had a great week was Curtis Samuel on Thursday Night Football. He had 21 points. If you saw him, he had 2 touchdowns, 1 through the air, one on the rushing game. Another guy who had a wonderful week this week, Corey Davis. Corey Davis had 26 points this week in fantasy football for the Tennessee Titans. Hence, him being on our waiver wire, picking him up, that just shows you a glimpse of what he can do and what he's going to do the rest of the year. Next guy who had a wonderful week was Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, down in Miami. He was the only Ram who basically did anything down there on the offensive side. Everybody else basically kind of showed up and didn't do a whole lot. So Robert Woods was the exception this week for that one. Another guy who definitely had a huge boom this week was Mecole Hardman. 2 weeks ago, everybody was on the Mecole Hardman bandwagon, and we saw he got 0 points that week. And then this week, nobody was on his bandwagon, and he got 22. So welcome to Chief Nation. So, yeah, kind of figure that one out. But that's also because Patrick Mahomes had 5 touchdown passes. 1 was to Mecole Hardman. He had a very nice game. He had 22 points. And the guy who is the ultimate boom for the wide receivers, he threw up a 40-burger. We already talked about his teammate letting the guy cook, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf. Last week, he only got 1 catch against the Arizona Cardinals. This week, he got 40 points. He got 2 touchdowns. He tore up my Niners. So He's basically unstoppable, unguardable. Yeah, he just
Warm up.
he just tore him up, and he just said, "Hi guys, see you guys. Have a nice trip home with a nice big old fat L." So that's what he did. So thank you, Mr. DK Metcalf. We don't appreciate you, but we do in fantasy football, but not for Niners fans. So it's cool.
Right.
Now for the bad side, or the bust for the wide receivers this week. And I believe the first guy we're going to talk about, Marty, I believe we called it right on. I believe we did. That was in our video. We called it right on.
Yes.
So we called him a boom the week before, but this week we called him a bust. And he boomed last week, and he busted this week. Anybody want to take a guess? It's Kenny Golladay. So we were right on about Kenny Golladay. Yeah, we were right about him. Who knew? That's crazy stuff. But unfortunately, Kenny Golladay did suffer a slight injury on that one, but he did get 0 points. Check the records. Check the records.
Oh yeah, 0 points
against the Colts defense. I think we got that right on. I think if we had a nice trophy or a nice crown, I think we could put it on ourselves right now. So maybe Derrick Henry will want to share.
I don't have one here, so
it could happen. So, but yeah, unfortunately, Kenny Golladay got 0 points free. So all the owners who owned Kenny Golladay this week, I'm pretty sure that didn't help you. I'd probably say about 99.99999% you lost this week. So maybe if you listened to us, you wouldn't have, but it happens. So it's cool. Another guy who had a bust, we had him on the boom side. Unfortunately, we were not correct about this one. We do get a couple wrong. We sprinkle them in there, but most of the time we are right, is Adam Thielen. So, and the reason why is because we talked about his teammate earlier, Dalvin Cook, who put up a 50-burger almost, so which is just awesome. And unfortunately, if that happens, somebody else has got to suffer a little bit, and Adam Thielen was the one who didn't get as many points as we thought he was going to get this week, which happens, but Adam Thielen is still number one receiver in that offense. Do not hesitate to play him. Play him with confidence from here on out. He is just about as unguardable as you can get in the NFL for the receiver. Another guy who did bust this week after he had the most amazing week last 2 weeks ago against the Arizona Cardinals is Tyler Lockett. Basically, him and DK Metcalf did the flippity flip or the switchity switch, whatever you want to call it. So as DK Metcalf boomed, Tyler Lockett did bust a little bit. He only had 7.3 points this week. He did have a projection of 17 points, so he was about 10 points under his projection, which is not what you're looking for as a Tyler Lockett owner. So now Mari's going to give you the booms and the busts for the tight end positions for week 8.
On to the tight ends this week for the booms and busts. For the booms, Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs, 24 points. The guy torched them. He torched the Jets. It was insane. Like we said, I believe in our video, we said our booms were going to be all the Chiefs and the busts were going to be all the Jets. I think we were right about that. I think the highest scoring Jet was a wide receiver I'd never heard of in my life, and he only got 11 points. And that was the highest scoring Jet for the entire team was 11 points. So we were right. The Chiefs had 4 players with over 22 points in this weekend. So anyway, on to our next boom was Jared Cook for the Saints. Kind of unusual there. He had 16 points. And that was the second highest scoring tight end this weekend. Tight ends did not have a good week this week for fantasy football. They just didn't. So, yeah, Kelce and Jared Cook were our 2 booms this week. And the 2 busts this week, we only had 2 of them, was one we said was going to be a boom. We were wrong. Was George Kittle out of San Fran. Only had 5.9 points. He also did get hurt in the third quarter, so he had to come out. So he did not play the entire fourth quarter. But Kittle with only 5.9 points this weekend. Kind of a bust this weekend, but that's okay. He'll be back. The other bust we had is Jonnu Smith for the Titans. Only 4.9. I think maybe his lowest week so far this week in fantasy football. The Titans. They just didn't throw to him that much this game. The defense was stifling pretty good. So he's our bust. And to the booms for the defense and the kickers. The boom this week for defense was Miami against the Rams. 24 points for the Miami defense.
Unreal.
Punt return for a kickoff for a touchdown, fumble recovery for a touchdown, couple interceptions. That's why they got 24 points. That's why Jared Goff only got 10. So, and the defense was the highest scoring player for Miami in fantasy this weekend. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Tua did all right, but he only got 12 points as his first start.
Yeah.
Our kicker for the Los Angeles Chargers, Bagley, 15 points, highest rated kicker this week. So he was our boom for kickers. He gets 15 points. And that's all for our booms and busts for this weekend. And now I'm going to throw it back to Tyler for the trade talks this week. Who you should trade for and who you should trade. Take it away, Tyler.
Thank you, Marty. Yeah, so there's some really good trade candidates out there for this week, and there's a couple that are on buys this week that we're going to say to trade for, and that's one of the reasons why we're going to say trade for them too, because they're going to be low buys. So it's kind of some stuff that you want to think about too before you start trading guys or trading for guys too as well. With that being said, so some guys you want to trade for this week. One of them is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp from the LA Rams. His value is really low right now, and they are also on a bye week this week on the upcoming week. So right now would be the perfect time to trade for him. His value is going to be the lowest that's possibly going to be. Maybe another owner doesn't like having a bye week on there. If you do trade for Cooper Kupp, trade for somebody who's got a bye week at a later time. Don't trade for somebody who's already had a bye week, like for instance, like Deontay Johnson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They already had their bye week, so if you trade him for Cooper Kupp, you're basically getting 2 bye weeks out of that instead of 0, so just be really careful when you do something like that. Another guy who you want to trade for possibly this week is Christian McCaffrey. We all know he's coming back from injury. We believe from everything that's been said that he's going to come back this week. This is the week he's going to come back and make a huge impact on the Panthers. If you can get him for a nice value that you think is something that's fair, go ahead and put an offer out there. Go ahead and trade for him. I've seen a lot of offers out there that don't make a lot of sense for him and some that really do. So if you feel like you can get Christian McCaffrey, if you need some running back help, go ahead and grab him. It would be a perfect time to do it because we all know when he comes back on the field, when he's 100%, he is going to be the Christian McCaffrey of old. And there's a reason why he was the #1 pick this year. Somebody else you're really going to trade for this week to keep an eye on is James Conner, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They play in a tough division, and also, too, as the weather gets colder and colder, they're going to lean more on the run game. We all know that the passing game has been so-so this year so far with that one. So James Conner, Pittsburgh Steelers, if you can get him this week, go ahead and grab him. Another guy who you want to trade for this week, if he is not on your waiver wire, as we said this week, pick him up on your waiver wire. But if you can grab him, Brandon Ayuk would be a great guy to get as a low-buy wide receiver candidate. So if you can trade for him this week, he'd be a great guy to get on your team, especially now with George Kittle going down. So just another guy that you can put in there as a wide receiver 3 or a flex guy from this point going on forward for basically the rest of the year. Some guys you want to trade away. Unfortunately, a couple of Cowboys are on this list to start off with. The first one is Amari Cooper. It's not because the guy doesn't have talent. We're never going to ever disrespect a man for his football talent whatsoever. It's just the situation right now. The situation in Dallas is bad. They're on their #3 quarterback. Even if Dalton gets back, he's no Dak Prescott. So if you have Cooper, try to get some value for him. See what you can get for him. You know, you're not going to get the Cooper value back, but you might get somebody decent who can help you out the rest of the way here. Well, you'd want to trade away at wide receiver would be CeeDee Lamb. Unfortunately, same situation with him and Cooper. It's just we're not taking anything away from those guys. Are both multi-talented guys. They can do anything and they want in the offense, but having a third-string quarterback or Andy Dalton back there is just not going to help out a whole lot. So their offense is pretty anemic. Their whole offensive line is basically gone this season. So just if you can get some value for the Cowboys, man, just get rid of them and try to get somebody else in return. Another guy who you want to get rid of this week is wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans. This week, Chris Godwin is out with his bad finger. He's going to be back next week. And also, to the addition of Antonio Brown, he is going to have some chunk of the offense, too, as well. So if you have Mike Evans, if you can get rid of him, if you can trade him for a nice return, definitely put him in a trade package or trade him one-on-one for somebody else. He'd be somebody you want to try to get rid of. Another guy you want to try to get rid of off your team is Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, Cleveland. He had a very nice catch this week, almost caught one for a touchdown, but then he dropped the ball. Unfortunately, that doesn't help you in fantasy football whatsoever. With not having Odell Beckham there, he's going to be the #1 guy. Everybody's gonna laser in on him. So if you have him, go ahead and try to trade him, get something for him. And on top of that, Cleveland's a run-first offense now. They're not a pass-first offense, especially with Baker as the quarterback. They have to be run-first. So, but anyways, those are the guys to trade away, and those are the guys to trade for. So. And also, too, for the updated injury news and notes here, as a Niners fan, I am deeply sad to say that our starting quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, is out 6 more weeks with an ankle. And on top of that, the #1 pass catcher for our team, for the San Francisco 49ers, George Kittle, is out 8 weeks with a broken foot. So as you can tell, the injuries just keep piling up for the Niners. So this year is going to be very bleak. They're probably not going to do a whole lot more this year. So anyways, those are the updated news and notes. Tomorrow is the trading deadline for the NFL, so we will keep you updated and posted with all the trades that will affect your fantasy football team. Anything on the defensive end, we will not report.
Yeah. So.
Thank you so much for checking us out. We really appreciate you. Episode 9. Thank you, Triple F Nation. Thank you for being here at Ground Zero. We appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, share, add. We are all now on Facebook too under Tyler Marty, and then we also have a league and app for two fools in fantasy football. So we're getting that out there too as well. So please tell everybody you can out there. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. Everybody's giving feedbacks on our video to me personally or to us through our website. We appreciate it. So thank you all very much. So I am Tyler, the uncool Fool Greer, and I'm out. And my co-pilot here, Marty McFly, a.k.a. Dominic Sue. So, all right. Thank you all very much. Y'all have a wonderful night. Check out our video. We're going to have it all in there for you. And we'll see you with video number 10.
Night.